Welcome everyone to the March 14th meeting, 2022 meeting of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners. Would you please join me in reciting the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'm Barb Lewis, President. To my right is our Vice President, Commissioner Jeff Benton. To my left, fellow Commissioner Gary Merrill, our Administrator, Tracy Davies, and our Deputy Administrator, Don Houston, and our clerks, Jennifer Walraven and Sarah DeNovo. We can begin.
Resolution number 22-167, in the matter of approving the electronic record of proceedings from regular meeting held March 10th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 22-167. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
We do not have any public comment today. That brings us to item number 3, resolution number 22-168. In the matter of approving purchase orders and now certificates and payments of warrants in batch number CM APR 0311.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 22-168. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 22-169. In the matter of resolution authorizing the execution and delivery of a First Amendment to the bond purchase agreement relating to the County of Delaware, Ohio Healthcare Facilities Refunding Revenue Bonds, Series 2016, Sarah Moore Community, and authorizing the execution and delivery of other related documents in connection with such amendments.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
We do have some gentlemen here from Ice Miller to talk to.
Okay, welcome.
Hello, my name is Brian Megorian. I'm an associate at Ice Miller. I'm here on behalf of the 2016 bond purchase agreement amendment for Sarah Moore Health Facilities. In the amendment, we are changing the interest rate index from LIBOR to account for its phasing out in 2023 and switching to a SOFR rate. There are no additional funds being added through this amendment and no changes to the 2016 deal putting obligations on the county.
Okay, any comments?
Yeah, this is interesting. I mean, LIBOR is being phased out, so I didn't realize that this agreement was actually linked, had a LIBOR link, so.
Yeah, so variable interest rate that's attached to this bond deal, it's tied to the LIBOR rate, and they're encouraging to shift away ahead of time of the 2023 shut off. And
So what is the SOFR? I'm not familiar with the SOFR.
on the amendment, it's just a different rate tied to the U.S.
Is it prime rate minus something?
It establishes a rate that ties. I believe it's Mike. Hello, Mike. I'll let you take care of SOFR.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mike Miller with Ice Miller. So SOFR is the secured overnight financing rate. It's intended to be a LIBOR replacement. So the LIBOR rate is based on, it's actually determined, I think, in Great Britain, in England, in the London financial markets, where a bunch of banks together agree on a rate. Several years ago, there was some litigation over some corrupt practices that went into how they were determining the LIBOR rate. So it was determined by banking regulators that we need to get away from LIBOR. So there have been a number of different replacement variable rate indices that were created in response, and this secured overnight funding rate, or SOFR, has kind of become the norm for what LIBOR is going to be replaced to. So again, this is just it's a variable rate interest rate formula that these Sarah Moore bonds are bearing interest at. So we're really just taking one index and replacing it with the other. But in terms of the overall business transaction between Sarah Moore Home and its bank lender, that's still pretty much the same.
Yeah, I was wondering what the SOFR stood for and how it was going to be created and monitored and so on. So
it's already in place, and in fact, banks are already making loans under SOFR today. As Brian said, LIBOR will be phased out completely in June of 2023. So what this amendment does, it doesn't convert the rate right now. It basically just bakes into the bond documents that when LIBOR goes away, SOFR will be the replacement rate, and therefore we've got that mechanism built in, so there's no gap between the period when LIBOR goes away and a new replacement rate is put in there, because we need to have certainty as to how that interest rate gets calculated every month.
Yeah, makes sense. Trivia question, what does LIBOR stand for?
London Interbank Offered Rate.
Got it.
I could have got that one.
All right, thank you. Good planning. Good to get this ahead of us.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 22-169. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Resolution number 22-170, in the matter of approving supplemental appropriation for Job and Family Services.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bob Anderson with Job and Family Services. We are requesting a supplement to appropriations, allowing us to update and continually stay on top of our technology needs with the purchase of laptops, scanners, and different pieces of equipment for our staff.
Okay.
Does that all come out of the general fund, or is that reimbursable at some
It's
stage?
going to state and federal funding,
It is, okay.
yes.
Okay, vote, please.
Vote on motion 22-170. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Thank you.
Resolution
Bob.
number 22-171, in the matter of approving a supplemental appropriation.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Karen First, Fiscal Manager. This supplemental resolution is requested to appropriate expenditures for the at-home COVID tests that were purchased for employees, and we are using the American Rescue Plan funds to pay for them.
Okay, questions, comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 22-171. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Resolution number 22-172, in the matter of awarding the bid and approving a contract between the Delaware County Commissioners and DR Lawn Care LLC for 2022-2023 Roadside Mowing South.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Morning, Rob Riley, Chief Deputy Engineer. Each year every 2 years, we bid out our mowing services for roadsides. That contract is up. We did receive several bids for this contract. This particular one is for the south half of the county, a little less than half. We contract out roughly 70% of our mowing, the other 30% we mow in-house. And so this represents kind of the southern half that is contracted out. We received bids basically on par with last year, so no increase. This is a new company versus previous years, but we checked references, and I think we're in good shape moving ahead awarding this contract.
You said 2 years. It does not seem like it's been 2 years since
I
we
know.
last voted on this. Time goes fast.
Any other questions, comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 22-172. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 22-173, in the matter of awarding a bid and approving a contract between the Delaware County Commissioners and DR Lawn Care LLC for the 2022-2023 Roadside Mowing North.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Same explanation, except this is basically the contracted half of the north half of the county. And so just a little bit more information. We do 4 rounds of mowing under this contract, and so they start basically whenever the weather allows in April, as soon as it's dry enough to get out and start mowing. And this will go through September of this year.
Okay. Vote, please.
Vote on motion 22-173. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 22-174, in the matter of approving an amendment number 1 to the professional services agreement for Dell TR 114-01.93 Orange Road Railroad Grade Separation.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
You'll recall that probably a year ago or more, we entered into contract with Gannett Fleming Engineers and Architects for the preliminary design of the Orange Road Railroad grade separation. Basically, Gannett Fleming has completed that preliminary work. They've concluded that the underpass under the railroad is feasible. They've looked at some different alternatives for drainage as well as maintenance of traffic for the, during the construction period. And so what we'd like to do is move ahead with the design of that alternative. So this would be a contract, or this would be a modification to that contract to go through roughly about halfway through the completed design plans for the project. I would note this takes an incredible amount of coordination with the railroads doing an underpass, because we are building a structure that the railroads will own and maintain. And so versus an overpass, this is a more complicated type project. But that said, it's moving along. We have still a lot of work to do. We're still years away from even thinking about putting a shovel in the ground. But I would add, we were successful 2 years ago. The TID applied to Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission for attributable funding. Was successful in getting a little over $7 million towards this project. And so we'll keep looking and keep applying for grant funding to try to piece this thing together.
So it is still years away. You can't put a calendar date on this project yet?
We have 2026 plugged in as the construction start date. We'd love to move it quicker. I don't think there's any way we can commit to doing that.
Wow, boy, that is expensive.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments? Vote, please.
Vote on motion 22-174. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 22-175, in the matter of approving the plats of subdivision for 7300 Concord CAD, Woodcrest Crossing Section 4, Evans Farm Marketplace West Section 2, 3, and 4, Phase A and B, and North Star Horse Run Road.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
These plats have been approved by all the required county agencies. Woodcrest Crossing includes 25 single-family lots. The Concord, 7300 Concord CAD is just a 4-lot common access drive subdivision. And then Evans Farm Marketplace West, this would be on the west side across from the new building that is nearly complete at Evans Farm. I know they're moving ahead with basically the matching building on the west side. And then North Star Port Rush Road, that is on the north side of Wilson Road in the North Star area.
Sometimes I wonder who comes up with the names. Anyway, okay. Any questions, comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 22-175. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 22-176, in the matter of approving right-of-way work permit summary sheet.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
We just had 5 routine utility installation permits, recommending approval on these.
Okay. Questions, comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 22-176. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 22-177, in the matter of authorizing the purchase of equipment for the county engineer's office.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
This is a scheduled and budgeted replacement of a dump truck in our fleet. I mentioned last year how difficult it's been to get vehicles and all kinds of equipment. I certainly hope we get this vehicle this year, but at least we can order it and hope it comes in as quickly as possible. This is a international model, and so we'll keep our fingers crossed and hope it gets here before next year.
Okay. Vote.
Vote on motion 22-177. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
We are not able to start our, one more. Item number 13, resolution number 22-178. In the matter of approving plans, specifications, estimate, and setting the bid date for the project known as Del CR 3642-0.00 Bixby Parkway Phase 1A.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
So we've been discussing this project for some time. This, I would repeat, is only the north half of the project. This is from the intersection at Bowtown Road north through the Bixby campus up to Route 521. The schedule for this would be to start construction probably in May and then have it wrapped up, if not completely, then mostly by October of this year. May have some finish work next spring. A little bit of a sidebar editorial comment, I suppose. We are looking at some of our construction cost estimates for our upcoming projects, and frankly, we're bracing for some really significant increases this year. This one builds in at least a 10% increase based on what we would have anticipated about 6 months ago. And so the reality is heavy construction is incredibly energy intensive, both fuel and the materials that go into the roads are very much dependent on energy prices. And so as we see the fuel prices and oil prices go up, that translates directly to what we see on construction projects, just operating the equipment to build the roads, plus the oil and fuel that goes into making the asphalt and the concrete. So again, we're very much impacted, and frankly, there's no way around it. We can't outsource we can't outsource purchase of materials to another country. We can't go to a cheaper location to acquire this stuff. It has to be produced here locally. There's just no feasible way to ship it in. So just again, kind of an editorial comment there about what we have to deal with, but we'll hope for the best.
I'll make an editorial comment. If this administration would wake up and get their act together and open up drilling in this country, we wouldn't have this issue to this degree. So I'll editorialize a little stronger. So.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments, vote?
Vote on motion 22-178. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have to wait to start our 10 o'clock public hearing so we can go to administrator reports.
Good morning. Nothing to report today. I don't have anything either. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Merrill.
I have two things. We had our Area 18 opioid meeting for the settlement Thursday evening. It was basically more informational. We're having to change the way we're getting support or blessing from the villages and the townships. And they're currently working on a template, CCO and the attorneys that we sent back to us. And basically, the goal is each township will need to approve it. Each village will need to approve it. And ours will be the simple. We'll just have one need to approve it. Until we get the template back, we basically got to fill in the names that we've already blessed, plus the names in the townships and the villages, and all be one document to be approved by all the entities.
Do they have veto power?
The theory
Does it have
is
to
if
be
you don't get
unanimous?
everybody on board, signing the document, they could later say, we weren't included, didn't get our 2 cents into the discussion. So it's a way to try to avoid, let's say, disputes down the road. It will be a challenge.
Every township, every village?
Well, in theory, but certainly you want to get the majority of them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the township just had their meeting the same night we had that. So they could have done it in a township association meeting, theoretically.
Right.
But they don't meet again until mid-year. But Eric is going to work with our prosecutor's office on that. He feels very confident that, but it's just necessary to protect everybody involved. And the other thing is, CCO, I sit in on the member of the election committee, which is made up of Board of Elections, which Carla also sits in on. And we had a Zoom meeting Friday, and I thought it was going to be more controversial, but it really turned out to be more about the poll books and some dollars that will likely come from the state to reimburse us. In our case, we've already bought them. So in theory, assuming it works its way through the legislature, we'll get it reimbursed for that, either 80-15, which was the recommendation, or 80-20, which was what was done previously. So we'll see, but could be some money returning to us on that, and that was basically the purpose of the call. We thought it was going to be more about the coming elections. So I think everybody's waiting to get some clarity on that.
I assume there's still no clarity. I mean,
Well, the Ohio Supreme Court still has to rule.
yeah, I was gonna say,
So,
I
waiting
hadn't-
for that.
Hadn't heard anything, so.
And as they say,
Right.
the clock is ticking.
Yeah, that's
to
right,
say the
it sure
least.
is. Carla has done a wonderful job, though, in getting our board ready. I mean, it's just amazing.
In fact, there was a comment made that Delaware, a quote, I think it made the papers, a quote where Delaware County is the one county that says, we can make it work.
That's
And,
right.
frankly, we were identified as the only county in the state that was
I
that
would say that.
positive, let's put it that way. So, but they do great work. In our county, we're fortunate to have the Republicans, Democrats work well together here. Both sides really pull well together, and we're lucky. Our county does a really great job, and I'm always very convinced that our elections in our county are handled well. So I think you feel the
Both
same
parties and their employees work very hard at the board. Boy.
That's all I have.
Commissioner Benton?
Yeah, just a couple other things. The Sunny V and Columbus Avenue and London Road auctions are all tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock in the courthouse, so
I'm going to be there as
I'm
well.
going to be an interested party watching that process, so hopefully all three of them would get sold, but at least Sunny V. Morpsey's State of the Region luncheon is Wednesday, going to that. Then I did get a piece of paper on my desk this morning. It just was unsigned. I was a little surprised. It says, for Commissioner Benton, from a friend. And it lists a number of sports and a ranking of each of these teams. Number 1 in men's golf, number 1 in softball, number 1 in women's gymnastics, number 2 in women's tennis, number 2 in men's gymnastics, so on. And it's remarkable. I'm guessing this is Oklahoma. I'm just a wild guess, it's Oklahoma.
That's
Oh,
interesting.
yes.
And I'm not sure who prepared this, but it looks like Commissioner Merrill's handwriting. But I do have a question for Commissioner Merrill, and that is, who does Oklahoma play in the NCAA men's basketball tournament?
They are playing in the NIT this year.
They didn't even make the men's basketball tournament?
They did not.
There's 68 teams that get into that.
I know. They were 70th
They were
according to
one of the
the
best 68 in the country.
It just shows we have some areas we need to work on.
All right, that's all I got. The Buckeyes are playing, by the way.
Yeah, they're going to be in there. I think they're going to be in Pittsburgh, thankfully. I think it's in
They're
Pittsburgh.
playing Loyola, Chicago.
But regardless,
God, it's funny.
I love it.
Well, we have about 7 minutes until our hearing starts. That's barely enough time to go into executive.
how much time do we need for executive? Do you have anyone have an idea?
How much time do we need? A
Very
little more
good.
than 7 minutes.
How much time, Rob?
More than 7. More than 7.
More than 7, okay. Let's recess